The moral wrongs of slamming and bagging a Mercedes. So yesterday I got a phone call from a friend of mine who has a 230E, and he just picked up an engine and transmission from a 220 diesel with pretty low mileage. It actually looked like a nice engine and transmission. And so I was like, well, where did these come from? And he said, well, they came from this guy that's installing a Toyota 2JZ engine in a 220D. And so, of course, I was pissed off to hear that. I'm still pissed off about it. And I should be, you know. In fact, if any of you feel it in your heart of hearts to, I don't know, start some kind of anti-social media campaign against these losers, then I would be fully supportive of you. But people ask me, why is it objectively wrong to slam and bag these cars, change the colors, pull out the motors, and swap the transmissions, and do all this stupid stuff to them, change the interiors? And I think that not only is it wrong because it mars the originality of the car, but I think it's wrong because it's sort of like a self-gratification thing. People in our society today are so effing into themselves. I mean, you look at how these cars basically drive like crap and end up on Instagram because, I don't know, maybe the owner of the car is some loser who can't get attention from girls, so he's like, if I slam and bag this perfectly good Mercedes, maybe I can get, like, I don't know, maybe the ladies will start paying attention to me. But I don't know if I have a problem with the car. It's so much it's more the people doing it. I have never met a person who slammed and bagged and customized and re-engined Mercedes that I've actually liked. Most of the time, they're not even smart enough to figure out how the cars worked originally. Like, okay, they can plumb in a wiring harness from an ECU on a Toyota engine, but ask them how to rebuild a front suspension the right way, or ask them how to change the seals on an injection pump in a 220D, and, like, God forbid. You know, so most of the time these people are actually the scum of the earth, and they don't actually know how to repair a Mercedes the right way. And so if you've slammed and bagged a car and think that you're on my good side and you're watching this, I'm sorry, but I don't like you. I don't have to like you. And if you put another engine in one of these cars, I really don't like you, and I think you and I should probably never meet because I'm going to do something really bad. Anyway, I guess it's objectively wrong because all the people that have worked for like 40 years to keep the car nice and preserve the car and make sure that the car runs and keep the car in decent shape, well, you're basically pissing all over what those people have done. And even if you pull like an unwanted car out of the woodwork, you know, do the people who design the car a little justice and keep it the same. I know that some people are doing this to be cool or rebellious, but being cool and rebellious is stupid. It only gets you in trouble, and then it makes smart people like me make fun of you and actually piss all over what you're doing. So I'm hoping that there's a day in the future where people actually appreciate these 115 diesels and 108 sedans and want to preserve them the way that they're supposed to be preserved, hopefully to a point where they will undo all of the garbage that these people who have slammed and bagged their cars have done. You know, I don't need to get anybody on anybody's good side. I represent the car. My job is to look out for the car. It's not to make people happy. It's not to say things that make people feel warm and fuzzy about the destruction they're doing. It's actually to advocate for the preservation of these Mercedes. And so if somebody comes to me and says, well, it's their car and they have freedom of choice, you know, okay, fine, let's destroy all historical artifacts everywhere. Let's let ISIS come in and blow up all the historical artifacts from the Persian Empire. Let's let the Israeli government go in and destroy all of the non-Jewish architecture that's in the Holy Land. Let's let Hezbollah go around blowing up the Roman temple in Baalbek. Let's let the military regimes and factions of South America go destroy the remaining pieces of Inca civilization that are in Chile and Peru. You know, let's just make it okay for everybody to destroy all things of historical value anywhere. That's why I don't like slamming and bagging cars. I don't like resto mods. I don't like cars that deviate from original because you're disrespecting the historical value of the artifact. Now, if some of you who are slamming and bagging in your cars are too stupid to understand this argument, maybe it's a sign that you shouldn't be slamming and bagging cars in the first place. Maybe you should go and actually try to build a car from scratch, because that's really hard. Why don't you build your own 115 so you could do whatever you want to it? So when people say, oh, it's their car, it's their freedom of choice, no. The freedom of choice belongs to the person who can build the item from scratch, from zero, from nothing. That's the person who I am advocating for. It has nothing to do with the person who can destroy the car and modify the car. If anybody who destroys something or modifies it, which in my mind are one and the same, you know, I don't know. If you're watching this video, change your ways, because I'm going to continue to admonish you. And if any of you see, who are loyal Mercedes preservationists, see a slammed and bagged 115 or 108, be sure to give the person a dirty look and say some other kind words to them to acknowledge, that make them acknowledge their errors. Anyway, I know this is a little long, but if you have a classic Mercedes, take good care of it. And don't chop it or slam it or bag it or put another engine in it. That's all. And be sure to like and subscribe, unless you're offended. Then you don't need to be on this channel anyway.